Hello and welcome to Chef's Table. Now, this is the Maroon edition, and also it is another long one because the last long one that we did went down so well. Just in case you don't know, these two are chefs. I am not a chef. You guys, most of you aren't chefs. You've asked questions, I'm going to ask questions, we're going to learn. So, straight off the bat, Welfare asks, what's your favourite chef's tool and is it personalised?
It's just a knife and a board for me, which sounds really boring, but if you've got a good sturdy board and a decent chef's knife that you keep sharp and clean and ready to go, then that is your best weaponry.
You stole it. You stole
Were you
my
going to say the
answer.
same thing?
Yeah, a knife.
Now, shall we get a little bit more philosophical? What are the two of your go-to midweek meals?
I do have some like really go-to meals, like a good curry or a chili, but I try not to have too much of a go-to meal because I like to vary. But a roast chicken.
Yeah.
I love a roast chicken. It's really easy. I don't know why people just have it on Sunday.
What do you normally have with that?
I usually do like roast potatoes and veg. You know, I mix it up a lot depending on what veg I have. And then what I've been having recently, which is just
I feel like this is a curveball.
it's just excellent, is a bavette steak with homemade wedges, which is equally as easy.
Standard
And
potatoes,
it's
sweet
just-
potato.
so good.
What's your wedge formula?
Standard potato,
Yeah.
or I actually had purple potatoes the other day, which
Oh,
are great
nice. For roasting.
wedges. They're
Banging
great for
season right
roasting.
now. Wet cooks. Anything wet that reheats well, because I am not ashamed of a microwave. And midweek, when we've been cooking here all day and back late or whatever, I will quite regularly whip out of the freezer something that I have previously cooked. So it's a homemade ready meal, but it tends to be things that reheat well. So that tends to be wetter things like tagines and curries and chili con carnes and stuff like that.
When would you normally cook those? Would you make those at the weekend then and just make a load?
Yeah, a big batch on a Saturday or a Sunday or something, and just have a couple of pans on the go, multiple portions of each, freeze them down, and then I literally get home, whip it out, and I might serve it just with like a flatbread or a sweet potato. I might microwave as well. I use a microwave quite a lot midweek.
What are your briefs to yourself and to that meal that takes place midweek? And what I mean by that is it healthy? Are you looking for a certain spin on the type of recipe? Are you looking for speed? What do you look for?
I actually, rather than like doing something on a Sunday with the curry or the chili con carne, that's what I'll cook midweek because I know I'll be able to have it for lunch the next day, or so something that is filling that I can have for lunch the next day. You know, I don't mind spending an hour after work cooking because I like it. So it's not really a speed thing.
Therapy as well as it is work and stressful. You can unwind with cooking if you're relaxed and you're comfortable with the dishes you're making. I always go for variety. I hate the idea of having the same thing twice in a week or even twice in a
I
fortnight.
get really guilty of that as well.
Twice in a fortnight. Like you can keep, there's so many different options. You just keep mixing it up. So for me, it's speed and variety midweek.
What are your thought processes when it comes to designing a menu for other people? So say you're cooking for a group, you've got friends round.
I think this says a lot about me because I'm going to repeat an answer that I've just said for midweek, which is it's got to be easy and simple and stuff like that. And I don't mind reheating to some extent. So especially if it's friends coming around, you're not trying to impress.
No, you are trying to impress. That's my thing. If you're cooking for,
But if they're friends, if they're still my friends, then I don't need to impress them anymore. If they've
will.
got through that long of being my friend, then actually I don't need to impress them anymore. I just need to.
that's no
I just
attitude to
need.
have, is it?
But I do need to feed them well with tasty food that makes
Yeah.
people feel good. So for me, it's still one big pot cooks and comfort food and stuff that's not too fiddly, so you don't spend all the time in the kitchen and no time with them.
You know, I like to experiment a little bit. My first thought is obviously the wine, and then after that, I like to mix it up so it's a little bit of last minute things and a lot of stuff that you might be able to experiment with, but you've already done, so you don't have to like finish it off.
So give examples.
A really herby risotto, so it's like a bright green risotto with a roast chicken, so everyone could dig into the roast chicken and have some risotto on their plate. I hate to use the example of risotto because I know that's Ben's thing, but just experimenting with like serving something that's bright green that people might not have at average dinner party or something. Is
I
pretty
think
nice.
when you say experimenting, I probably wouldn't experiment for the first time, as in if anything I do would be something I have cooked before, so I know it's going to work and it's going to be great. But I do like pushing the boundary of something that I don't think they would have had before.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate enough to try so many hundreds of recipes here that I will pick one that I don't think, if it's family or friends, that I don't think they would have tried, so that there is that talking point at the table.
Yeah, like one of my favourite things is ossobuco, which is really, really easy, but it's one of the easiest things to impress people with as well.
What is it?
It's like a veal shin. So it's veal with a bone in the middle, with bone marrow in the middle, and you slow cook it. So you can start it in the morning and it'll be ready and you don't have to do anything, and you can just do it with some polenta at the last minute or something. And people are really impressed, and it's really, really easy.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to get into cooking professionally? Are there any resources, courses, which educational pathway, if you think that is applicable? What are your thoughts?
You don't necessarily, passion. You don't really need to know anything, it's just passion.
And you'll soon pick up the other skills, which is multitasking and being able to concentrate at very intense periods of time, which might not necessarily be when you first arrive. Quite often, I remember when we used to work in restaurants and hotels, you do a 12 or 14-hour shift, but the busiest period of that shift was the last 12 hours in. So you get in the morning, you do all the prep, you have a lunch service, you're prepping all the afternoon, you hit 8 p.m. service, 12 hours into your working day, and that's when you've got to be on your game, at your best. So that, again, isn't for everybody, but...
Having said that, I actually didn't do that. I was just lucky that I liked it because I went straight into uni to do cooking. I quit a course, went to another course, nothing in between, didn't know if I would like it or not, I just went for it. So, you know.
Let's leave it there, because that, I think, is a lot to fill a brain with, certainly a mic-sized brain. Thank you for watching. Hey, you should tweet us again at Sorted Food. Just get in contact, let us know any more questions that you'd like us to ask our chefs. If you're enjoying this longer form thing that we're doing, just general feedback, that'll be greatly appreciated. But for now, goodbye. That was Chef's Table, no apostrophe, no lawsuit.